Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. I am your co-host, Samantha Farlow with the Garrison Public Affairs Office.
And I am a co-host, Specialist Garrett Dacko with 11th Corps Signal Brigade.
And I am another co-host, Corporal Kyra Pearl with 11th Corps Signal Brigade. And you're listening to Fort Hood's
Great Big Podcast.
Hi, and welcome back. Right now with us, we have the Garrison Commander, Colonel Chad R. Foster.
Yep, that's me. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for coming on the show with us. So,
like I had a choice.
I know. You really didn't. But we appreciate it all the same.
For all the listeners out there, I am coerced by certain members of the staff here.
Yes.
I'm joking, of course, but it is awesome to be back with you today. Thanks.
And today we are discussing ERIE, which is the Energy Resilience Readiness. Hold on, wait.
The ERIE,
Yes.
so the ERIE, the Energy Resilience Readiness Exercise.
Yes.
I was so close.
You were very close.
Oh
You were
my
getting
gosh.
there. I was waiting for it.
And to make matters more confusing, this is a Department of the Army exercise, of course, and it's got a different name at that level. So
What?
it's called it's got another name. It's called a Black Start exercise.
Oh.
So we've been using ERIE at our level, but when I converse with folks at the Department of the Army level and the higher levels, we often will refer to it as a Black Start exercise because that's what the program is called.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then this is going to be a post-wide power outage on March 15th, correct, sir?
That is correct. So not all of the installation will be impacted. There was some deliberate decisions made by the commanding general about what areas to exempt. And we are limited in our ability to exempt areas from the exercise. So for everyone that's out there wondering, well, why didn't you exempt, my house or my building or whatever, it's because of the way the circuitry is set up on the installation. It makes it very difficult to leave certain areas out of the exercise without leaving other large swaths of the installation out as well. So we have to gather data. We have to really accomplish the intent of the exercise, which is allow us to see what our infrastructure, how it performs, what improvements need to be made. And so if we leave too much of the installation off, then we won't accomplish that. But there were some deliberate decisions, recommendations we made to the commanding general, and then he approved for us to leave out facilities such as the airfield, because that's a dual-use airfield. You have also the Killeen Fort Hood, regional airport is part of that. And if we were to shut down power there, it could cause some problems, obviously, with just military air traffic, but with civilian air traffic as well, because our air traffic controllers do control the airspace between Waco and Austin for a very good reason. Then, of course, the hospital. We don't want to necessarily shut down the hospital, during any time.
Right.
But, we decided, not to accept that as a risk. So we were going to leave the hospital, have them excluded from it as well. And then because there's an exercise going on at the time, we're also going to leave out the mission training complex as well. That will also be exempted. But that's pretty much it. So if you're not one of those three, you're going to be involved in this. I will add one thing, that West Fort Hood, because we're leaving the airfield on, and I mentioned the way the circuitry is set up, the brakes, and how we do power on and off on the installation, that means that a lot of West Fort Hood is actually going to be power on throughout the exercise, except for the housing area over there. So the unfortunate thing is the housing area is definitely going to be impacted by it. But the units and everything out near the airfield will, by and large, have their power on still.
Wow. That's like a lot of people then.
Yeah, just about
everybody here.
Affects everybody on base. Yeah.
Interesting. So what is it going to look like the day of for everybody here?
Well, for me personally, there may be a large crowd outside, the building where I'm at, looking to perhaps drag me out into a field somewhere and
you never know.
Deal with me appropriately. No, we're laughing about it. It's going to be difficult on the day of execution, and I don't think anyone really makes light of that. I mean, everyone understands that's involved in this. So we're going to start doing conditions checks. We have a set of conditions that have to be met before we can proceed with shutting the power off. And those have to do with life, health, and safety topics. They have to do with operational considerations. and with technical requirements for the exercise as well. So we're going to do the day before. We'll do a conditions check in the evening before the 15th on the 14th. We'll do that. And then on the morning of the 15th, very early, I will be with all of my team and the installation team as a whole, and we'll go down the checklist to make sure that all the conditions are met, and that will be completed by about 7 in the morning.
All right.
And when those condition checks are completed, if everything's a go, we will proceed at 8 a.m. with shutting the power down for the installation.
All right.
And that power will remain off for 8 hours is the plan right now.
Okay.
We want to have that power off for 8 hours. Could be up to 12, but right now we think we're going to be able to accomplish everything we need to do in 8 hours. So we can get the power back on in a timely manner before, obviously, so having some daylight left, hopefully, with the way that the days are lengthening up as we get farther throughout the year. Because I fully expect when we turn the power back on is when we could potentially have some high adventure, because we're gonna discover what the problems are. When we turn the power on, I think there's going to be potentially some areas where the power is not going to come back on exactly. But the good news, if there is good news on something like that, is that we're going to have a pretty robust response team standing by to move out and find the problem and fix it. And that's really what the purpose of this exercise is. It allows us to see ourselves in a way that we would not be able to. It's impossible for us to do this except in the way that we are doing it now. And by seeing ourselves through this exercise and by gathering this data, we are going to be able to make an argument for resources in the future.
Absolutely.
About how to improve the infrastructure, about how to invest in backup power generation, and how to do this more smartly so that I know everyone's shaking their head, well, why are we doing this? Well, we're planning it. We're planning this pain so that we can be better prepared in the future, so we can either A, not have an unplanned outage of any significant variety, or if an outage does occur, whether it be for a weather event or other things that could cause that, then we are much better postured to get ourselves back online.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, definitely.
So by default then, if I'm understanding this correctly, all the traffic lights will be out as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Texas has amazing drivers, as we all know.
Yes.
Okay, now Texans drive just fine.
Look,
try not to offend anybody on this podcast.
It's no California, all right?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
I want to take pride in our bad drivers.
I don't really think it's the Texans. I think it's that there's people from all over the country in one location, and they're all used to different driving rules and locations. My friend from New York, she drove crazy, literally crazy, because she was used to such high traffic back home.
Well, that's a nice recovery there to keep yourself from being, getting some hate mail from our wonderful Texas audience.
That's
right. No, but seriously, the street lights are going to be out. The stop lights are going to be out. So what you're going to have is you're going to have military police deployed to several of the major intersections on the base, primarily what they're on TJ Mills and a few other locations to help control traffic. On the side roads, you're not going to have that.
Okay.
But what you are going to have is you're going to have units that within their footprints, the areas that they're responsible for, they're going to put out their own, traffic control elements as they deem necessary to ensure, safety along the roads. I mean, I think maybe the biggest takeaway is that if you're going to be on Fort Hood on the day of the exercise, that unless you absolutely have to move around for the course of your duties, that probably decreasing the amount you're moving around probably be pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to minimal manning on that day. We're going to do what I call sensible manning, which units and organizations are going to make some decisions about. Maybe telework options if that is something that can be done.
Okay.
In many cases, it can't be, so that's not a blanket authorization. Everybody telework that day, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Listen to your supervisors and your units, commanders, chains of command, and get direction from them on this. But I know from a garrison perspective, what we're going to do is that some of my directorates are going to have to be all hands on deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
Director of Public Works, pretty much everybody with some reinforcements are going to be on site. Director of Emergency Services, who works with those MPs. Those will, of course, be around. But there are others that that we're going to probably do some teleworking with because we can afford to do so. But another reason why we're kind of doing that is we can't just have everybody stay home, because we talked about there's the technical side of the exercise, which is gathering data, and we're going to have some people from MIT and Lincoln Labs here, at the direction of the Army. They're going to help us gather that data. Wow. They've already been here for several visits already. We've rolled out the red carpet for them, and
nice.
So hopefully they'll get us through this very quickly. But there's a procedural and a battle drill side of this as well. So if we were to have a power outage, okay, what are we going to do? I mean, we have facility managers that there's things they have to do from the technical side, but then there are procedural things that we may have to exercise with alternate locations, alternate methods of doing certain functions that have to continue.
Yeah.
That we don't have the option of stopping.
Right.
So certainly that is another part of it, that it's not directed as part of the exercise, but because we have the conditions anyway, we may as well practice. So we're going to take advantage of that, and that's going to make us better as an installation in responding to any future crisis that we might have.
Definitely. I know whenever the big freeze happened back in 2021, February, I believe.
Sounds good to me, yes.
I'm shaking my head, yes.
Yes, we're all audio here.
But whenever that happened, thank goodness Fort Hood didn't have power outages as far as I'm aware. My neighborhood didn't. But it's obviously really realistic that we could in the future, and it's best that we practice this now and get all of the kinks ironed out if there are any. That way we do not have any issues in the future when it is colder outside or that situation.
And let me just put a plug in here for, the state of Texas took a lot of corrective measures in the wake of Winter Storm Uri. They, when it comes to power providers, some pretty stringent requirements about winterizing their operations so that they could deal with a situation like that in the future. So the state of Texas really helped us out on that. Now, on the installation itself, we also took a lot of lessons learned from that experience, and our privatized utilities providers, Dominion Energy and American Water, who partner with us here on the installation, they built their own contingency plans, and they started a very deliberate hardening of our infrastructure, the external infrastructure. Sometimes things as simple as, on the power poles out there, sometimes you have the wooden cross beams that hold up the lines. Well, we don't have a whole lot of those anymore because they've made those into metal, so they're much more capable of holding up a freeze, or any other stress that might be put on them. So I could go down the list of that, but they've taken a lot of measures from a weather perspective. But it's important to remember that a power outage could occur both from cold and hot. We primarily have problems with the power grid in the heat of the summer, but then there's also things like potential cyber attacks. There's this gamut of things that everyone's been reading about for I guess many years now that could occur, and so we're being proactive in preparing ourselves if there were a situation like that. How would we deal with it, and how could we, I guess, harden our resources, our infrastructure in the future to make us less vulnerable. Something like that.
So one thing you mentioned was housing. So housing is going to be affected by this, correct?
Yep, absolutely. Okay. So we've been embarked upon a very deliberate communications campaign really since October.
Right.
And really picked up speed over the last several weeks, working with Fort Hood Family Housing, working through all of our social media platforms at the Garrison and through 3 Corps and all of the units to get everyone informed about what's coming. Forewarned is forearmed. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's going to be convenient. It's going to be very inconvenient. We all get that. But I think I was pretty clear, as I hope I was pretty clear on explaining why that temporary inconvenience is really an investment in the future. But yeah, all the housing areas are going to be impacted by it. And we've been pretty deliberate about going through with the helps of the units to identify anyone that has a life, health, safety reason that they will need continuous power generation. We've taken a few measures for some of those extreme cases. But overall, great cooperation from the units. And I know that, I'm for example, I offered up, and I have been taken up on this offer by a couple of units to attend their periodic town halls and talk to some of the families about this exercise, this upcoming Erie exercise. and why are we doing it, what can they expect, and hopefully answer whatever questions they have.
Right. So I know one of the big questions that we have talked about, just like discussing this, is food spoilage. Naturally, yes. People want to know what they're going to do with that. Our tips and tricks are to be prepared, eat ahead, eat your food that you've got. Don't buy more groceries.
Clear out the fridge, y'all.
Yes. This is a good time to have a barbecue.
Yes.
Enjoy hopefully the good weather that day. Get together with all your neighbors. Yes.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason why we started communicating this early,
right?
So that people can take their own proactive measures. Now we're not leaving everybody out there kind of on their own. Hopefully, we're going to do some things. Specifically, Fort Hood Family Housing is planning on several events, which we'll begin to publicize very heavily over the next week or so as we lead up to the exercise. That they're community events where, hey, instead of sitting in your house in the dark, hey, I guess you can take your kids. You can go down to maybe one of the playgrounds or something where they're going to have some kind of local community events going on to get outside and maybe do something of that nature. Now I know AFES is also going to have food trucks strategically positioned at several locations. We're working out and finalizing those locations now, so that you will be able to potentially get like a quick meal out of one of the food trucks. Not ideal, but some level of mitigation with that as well. So, we're putting some work into this. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be very inconvenient, but it's worth it. And I hope everyone out there understands that this is not something that we undertake lightly. It's not something that we even have an option not to undertake, to be quite honest. But there's a good reason why we don't have an option. We put this off in 20. We were gonna do it in 21, but in the aftermath of Winter Storm Uri, I think we're all like, wow, we don't really need to practice any more disaster contingencies.
Kind of took care of that already.
Yeah, so we kind of pushed that off, but we but even though we learned a lot from that from that storm, excuse me, it felt like an exercise, a very realistic one. No, but we learned a lot from that storm, but it didn't get us to the point that this exercise is going to get us. So we still need to do it, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it just like everything we do here at Fort Hood. We're going to do it very, very well, and we need everyone's help to get us there and to get us there as quickly as possible. So thanks.
Yeah. So, sir, you did mention the food trucks, but what about the commissaries?
Okay, so the commissaries are going to be impacted like everyone else, and what they're going to do is, they're going to be closed on the day of the exercise. They should be able to open back up, within a day after the exercise itself. Now, kind of the impact of that is in the days leading up to the exercise, they're going to have to sell off their inventory.
Yes.
So what you're gonna start seeing is as we approach the day of the exercise, there might be some commodities that are normally in the items in the commissary that normally there that it might be dwindling a little bit because they're purposefully doing that so that we don't have a inordinate amount of spoilage and therefore lose a lot of money for their operation there. And then in the days after, they're gonna have to build their inventory back up again. So you'll see kind of a dip down with a climb on the other end as that great commissary team works through getting that service back to where it needs to be. Now, that's a great point. If we're talking about services in general on the installation, I know there's going to be talk about, hey, obviously we're doing this during spring break.
Yes, we are.
And that's because the schools are closed.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of the calculus. KISD, Killeen Independent School District, does run our schools on the installation. And so rather than having all, Audie Murphy and all the other schools that are on post be off and behind the rest of the district, we decided to do it during spring break. But things like the child development centers, clearly we are not going to be able to have our child development centers open with no power.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone, that's been a key part of our communication campaign, and hopefully everyone has gotten the word about that. So, but it affects us on both sides of the exercise. So the day prior to the exercise, our CDCs are going to be closed.
Yeah.
Because they have to take some measures to prepare to close on the 15th.
Did you not know that?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
This is the perfect podcast for you to be
there you
listening
go.
to.
It really is. I have a 1-year-old at home.
So now you know, and the reason for that is like there's food that they do there, and there's there's a lot of pretty stringent health requirements for the storage of food and everything else for our kids. So they have to take some measures on the day before the exercise to make sure they're ready to be closed and then open back up again in the days after the exercise. But the day after the exercise, they're also going to be closed because they have to reopen. They have to restock everything, and there's a lot of pretty deliberate actions they have to take so that when they do open up again, that everything is safe, everything is to the expectation and the standards set by regulation and law. So you're looking at the day before, the day of, and the day after for our CDCs being closed.
I'm really glad that was mentioned. I feel like a lot of people hear March 15th and they're just like,
yeah,
all I got to worry about.
Yeah.
No, I mean, hey, look, and I mentioned earlier that hey, this is not easy, okay, and nobody's doing this lightly. But I did also mention the procedural side of this. Mm-hmm. Well, there are things like family care plans. We've known about this for a while now, so everyone give you a chance to kind of verify those maybe. And luckily, it's not going to be for a long period of time. It was just for a couple of days, and which I know just for a couple of days is a big deal for parents out there. I know I'm a parent as well, but it's something that unit commanders, chains of command, they understand the difficulties. Especially we have a lot of single parents out there. We got a lot of dual military parents out there, and regardless of what your status is as a parent, your number one priority is taking care of your kids. And so the chains of commands are going to do the right thing by being flexible with their soldiers and parents who are parents as they negotiate this 3-day period of lessened support.
Yes, and while we're on the topic of children and chain of commands, I just wanted to make sure that our audience knew if you do have a newborn at home and your the wife is breastfeeding and you're worried about your breast milk being lost due to the spoilage, please talk to your chain of command. They can help you find a refrigerator somewhere to put that. That way all of your supply does not get diminished, because that is not something that you can just buy back up, unfortunately.
Yep, one of the many difficulties that a lot of times we may not think of those things. So having that backup, that extra help in thinking through the problems is very important, and we've done a lot of that, a lot of collaboration over the last really several months now to get to that point. Because me with a couple of people sitting in a room, we're not gonna think of everything. So we certainly did not limit it to me and a couple of people sitting in a room. We were very deliberate about this, and hopefully that's going to pay off.
Of course,
absolutely.
All right, and just so I know for the future for March 15th, so I don't have to take field showers in my room, will the water still be running?
Yeah, I mean, this shouldn't impact, your water supply. Okay. I mean, so, but it's power centric. It's electricity centric. There's not going to be any danger to the water supply. We shouldn't have to. Well, the power's off. Is that going to hurt the quality of the water, the safety of water? Nothing like that. So we should be in good shape as far as water is concerned. It's only the electricity.
All right.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, I know one other thing that I wanted to mention that you kind of hinted at a little bit is we do have a services sheet that actually tells you what services are going to be available the day before, the day of, and the day after. Ooh.
Yes. And
all three.
Yes, the important days.
So you can find these sheets at forthoodpresscenter.com/power outage.
Correct. You can also find it on the Garrison Facebook page.
What?
I know.
That's crazy.
I know.
It's like you planned for this.
It's like I did.
And since I have the audience here on the line, I just want to apologize for the videos that I was featured in. Not because
you did great,
not
sir.
because the videos themselves were bad. It's just that my appearance in those probably made it look like you were watching a horror film of some variety.
No, definitely not. People loved them.
Yeah,
you did great.
I'm sure they did. Yeah. Thank you for that sentiment, as misplaced as it might be.
All right. Well, do we have anything else that we need to cover, sir? Any other tips, tricks, any final thoughts you want to share?
Just remain flexible. Communicate with your chain of command. If you have a major concern going forward as we approach the day of the exercise, make sure you're communicating with your chain of command. The chain of command is your first and best stop in resolving an issue that you have. You shouldn't be worried about safety. I know there's been people talking out there about, wow, why are we announcing this to the world? Does that make us vulnerable? And the short answer is that, hey, all of our access control points are going to still have power because they have backup power generation. So we will still be able to scan people upon entry so that we are doing the right thing as far as that's concerned. So you should have no concerns about a safety and security perspective. But if you have other concerns, your chains of command is the best place to go. Those chain of command talk to me, they talk to the Corps, and we got a pretty good open line of communication throughout the installation on topics such as this.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you so much for joining us today, sir, and giving us all this amazing information about the Erie exercise. It's
a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. And hey, everybody, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna get through just fine. We're gonna do what Fort Hood does, and it does things. We're gonna do things right, and we're doing them to standard, and we're gonna be better off at the end of it. So I appreciate everyone's flexibility and patience out there, and I look forward to coming back on the show again.
Yeah,
hopefully, and sharing with you over maybe the next several months about the benefits that we've gained from what we learned. Hopefully,
yes.
I'm hopeful. I mean, I can't guarantee anything because often we live on the Garrison universe.
Yeah,
we move at a slower pace because of funding and the way things work. Just move slower with the federal government and Department of Defense and Department of the Army. Just it's the way of things, and it's the way it has to be. But hopefully we'll see some kind of tangible benefit about it. And I will make sure that we do our best to share those things that might result from the data gathering and the things we learn from the Erie. Because I tell you, it's important to show people the tangible results of what they go through, and hopefully the patience that all of you out there show as we do this in March.
Yeah, absolutely. March 15th, everybody.
Mark it on your calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, sir.
The Fort Hood Spouses Club annual Wild West Night charity auction is Friday, March 4th from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Ferris Well in Killeen, Texas. Admission to a night under the Lone Star is $35 per person. Admission includes food and drinks, live entertainment, and a live and silent auction. Come out and take a spin on our dance floor or take a ride on our mechanical bull. Our silent and live auction is full of amazing items that has something for everyone. Admission tickets are open to the public and are limited. Visit the Fort Hood Spouses Club Facebook to purchase yours today. All profits from our Wild West Night goes to our Community Outreach Grants Program. We hope to see you there.
So I just looked it up, and I did find out that the DFACs will be open for breakfast and dinner, but it is up to the individual units to provide MREs for their soldiers for lunch.
Okay.
So if you have any more questions, contact your chain of command.
Absolutely.
Get in touch with them. They will, they should be providing you MREs. If you're not, go ahead and ask them those questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that goes for all questions, not just the meal card holders.
Yes. If you have questions, ask your boss.
Yes.
And if for some reason there are just other families who live in the housing communities who may be retired or aren't necessarily affiliated with a specific unit, you can talk to your housing offices. A lot of them are doing town halls leading up to this event, and they should be able to help you with any specific, like, your situation only details.
Yeah.
And along with that, Facebook.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier a little.
Oh, you did?
The services is going to be on the Facebook page, on the Garrison Facebook page, but it's on everybody's Facebook page eventually, and there we're posting all sorts of stuff on Facebook. Follow your unit or your sponsor's unit. Follow like 3 Corps, First Cav. Obviously, follow the Garrison page.
Obviously,
you have to follow us.
You have to. But if you're like me and you don't really like being on social media,
for those weirdos,
go ahead and check out forthoodpresscenter.com/power outage. They will have that table of everything that's going to be open or closed that day as well.
Also have an FAQ, so frequently asked questions. You know, the basics of like who should I call if I have a question during the power outage?
Who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters, of course.
Where's Bill Murray?
Could you imagine Bill Murray showing up during this and being like, hey, if you have questions, just give me a call.
Just give Bill Murray a call.
That'd be amazing.
Can we get his number?
Oh, I wish.
All right, Mr. Bill Murray, if you're listening, can we get your number?
Or if somebody knows him.
Oh, man, I wish.
You never know. Write in, email us.
Email us if you know Bill Murray so we can get his contact information.
That'd be beautiful.
I feel like a lot of people, even myself, I'm speaking on myself, we don't realize how much electricity really affects.
Oh, yes.
So we are not trying to like overplay or scare anyone, but at the same time, we don't want anyone to underplay this and then wake up and be like, oh crap, I can't do X, Y, and Z.
Yes. Charge your phones the day before because this starts at 8 a.m. Will last 8 hours, could last up to 12 hours. So you want to make sure your phone is charged. You have some kind of backup place to go if for some reason it does last more than 12 hours. Mm-hmm. You have some other way to charge your phone. Maybe get a phone battery charger, solar power brick things that they've got. Yeah, you can get some of those. Eat your food. Be prepared.
I love eating.
Be safe on the roads.
Yes, be safe on the roads. Absolutely. Just be smart and safe.
There's going to be, like Sir mentioned, there's going to be people posted at the major intersections. Yes. But for those intersections that are not being directing traffic, please treat it like a four-way stop.
Yeah.
Please.
We don't want any accidents.
We don't need any accidents. No. This day is going to be
hectic enough.
So let's try to minimize any extra damage.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I know one thing I'm going to be doing when I get home today is I'm going to check out my neighborhood's Facebook page and see what events they are pushing out, because that was such an interesting. I didn't know they were going to do any community events.
Yeah. Fort Hood Family Housing, they're going to come out and help out and should be doing some fun stuff. So yeah, absolutely keep an eye on Facebook for that. They should be posting all of that there on your pages and
I'm just going to sit in my room with a candlelit bath and read a book.
That'll be so romantic for yourself. Wow. You don't self-care day.
A self-care day. I don't read and I'm not going to be here. So
so maybe you
it's
could. Yeah.
It's a win-win.
I'll be working, so, you know.
Yes. I'll be watching my son, apparently.
Yes, you will.
3 days straight.
3 days.
What?
All right.
Definitely going to be checking out that sheet of what else is open and closed, because I had no idea about the CDC.
Yes,
there are probably other locations that I have no idea about.
Probably, yes, like gas stations. Gas stations will be closed. Yep. You cannot buy gas that day. Important to know.
You have to go off base to get gas?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, no.
I know.
That actually is interesting to think about, because they're never off.
I know, they're never closed. You can always go.
That's so
not during a power outage. Yep.
That makes sense.
Who thought? I mean, it does make sense, but yeah, it's definitely not something that you sit around and you're like, what else is closed?
Make sure you're turning off all of your electronics.
Yes.
That way there's no surge issues.
Unplug, turn off. Yes.
And this is also will probably be on the Facebook. I know it's on, I think, the Press Center website. Be prepared for when the power does come back on. Make sure all your major electronics are unplugged before it comes back on to reduce the risk of power surges.
Absolutely. Yes. Very important. Yeah. So all that stuff will be on Facebook. It is on the Press Center. So if you have questions or just like want to read basically everything that we've told you today, you can go to the Press Center website and it will all be right there for you. Awesome. Too convenient.
I'm so glad we're getting all this important information out now.
I know. Me too.
It's great.
Yeah. I think that's all we have for this.
For this?
Yeah, for this. It is the beginning of the month.
Which means?
It's Book and Movie of the Month.
Yes, it is.
Yes, so stay tuned after our little quote-unquote credits. We will have Book and Movie of the Month.
Yes.
Bye.
This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Hood and Fort Hood Public Affairs production. The show's theme music is written and produced by Delicious All-Stars. All our music is obtained through Filter by Songtrader. Have a question or want to share some insights with us? Email us at forthoodpao@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook Instagram, and Twitter at USAG Fort Hood. And as always, be sure to leave a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
We want to let you know that there are no spoilers for either the book or movie of the month, so please enjoy the segment. All right, everybody, we are back for Book and Movie of the Month.
Of the month.
All right, we've got the usual crowd here. Everyone, you introduce yourself since
Hi,
you and I already did.
It's Blair again.
It's your girl Blair from the Fort Hood Sentinel.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then just us.
Yeah, and then us. We were already here, so, we don't have to introduce ourselves. I feel like if people don't know our voices by now, welcome to those for their first time listening.
Yeah. Welcome. These are our voices.
Yes.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
All right, what do we got this month?
Okay, so for the book, what book do I have? Let's see.
We were all just waiting.
I know.
I am so eager.
I can tell. Yes. Okay, so the book this month is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. It is very popular right now. It is one of the most popular books out there. It is about this woman and her husband and his child. And basically what happens is that the woman comes home to some strange notes from her husband. Husband isn't anywhere to be found. Husband's job, company, is being investigated by the FBI. And they're like, what the heck? What's going on? The lady's like, where's my husband? What am I going to do with this 16-year-old kid that's not mine, that I haven't adopted? What do I do? Where's my husband? What's happening? So basically it's her journey through figuring out what's going on, where her husband is, this whole mystery of everything that's happening. It was a very good book. Lots of plot twists that I didn't see coming.
Very good.
Yes.
So it's like Gone Guy.
Yeah, it is. It is like Gone Guy. Only, well, I can't say that because I don't want to give any spoilers away.
Okay.
Yes, but it is similar vibes where the wife's like, where is he? Yeah, what do I do?
And then boom, twist.
Pretty much,
Okay.
Yeah. So I will say that some of the book is actually set here in Texas.
Wow.
Set in Austin.
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh,
So
that's
that
only
was
an hour
that
away.
was fun to read about. They're talking about Lady Bird Lake and all that stuff. So that was fun.
You could just go down to Austin while reading the book and
You
follow where they
could.
were.
Yeah. Ooh.
There you go. Make your own mystery.
That's
mystery
right.
event out of
I
it,
love
yeah.
that.
It's a
Yeah.
But don't go missing.
Yeah, no, don't go missing. Would not recommend the things that they do that is happening that the husband is actually involved in. Would not recommend that for anybody. But the book itself was very good. The writing was amazing. Really pulls you in, captivates you. The only thing I had problems with is at one point the author is saying that somebody is from El Paso and that they're the first person in their graduating class to go to college. I think El Paso is, a very military community. So people are out there graduating and going to college and, it just, the way she wrote about El Paso, I just wasn't that thrilled about it.
Never been to El Paso.
Correct. Did no research at all whatsoever and just picked another name in Texas that she knew of and just
it's
went.
a super small town. It's
El Paso is super small. I've heard
No.
about it a couple of times, but it's got to be some small. It's way out there in the middle of nowhere, Texas. So it's got to be some rinky-dink small town, which I was
Should've
not
picked
thrilled
up where
about.
I grew up. I mean,
I just wasn't
Lord.
thrilled about that. It was obvious she did no research at all into El Paso,
yeah.
so that made me mad. But other than that, I thought the book was really good.
All right.
Yeah, would
Very good.
recommend.
Good.
Yeah, have fun. So if you're looking for a little mystery, I would recommend you pick up The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. You can find it in major bookstores,
Yeah.
Amazon. It is also at the KC Memorial Library here on Fort Hood.
Exciting.
So there you
Fancy. Free book. Go read it.
go. Go read it for free.
Yes.
Well, I still have it, so you can't quite read it yet, but it will be there shortly.
Wait until Sam's done reading it, then go read it.
Well, I finished reading it. I just haven't returned it yet. Wait another week, and then you can have it.
There you go.
Someone's going to go up to the counter in that poor library
I
and be
know.
like, Samantha Farlow needs to bring this book back right now.
I promise I'm bringing it
Can you
back.
call her?
You can write into the podcast if you do go to check it out and tell me to hurry it up.
There you go.
Yes.
Oh,
so
man.
that was the book of the month. What is the movie or movies of the month?
Okay, so we saw Death on the Nile.
We did?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We did.
We just
We did.
Did you forget? Did everybody forget?
No, I'm
Because I
just-
forgot.
I'm not
I did.
talking like third person. Oh, we remember now.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, we remember now. Who speaks like Gollum? That's right. Yeah. My precious. Sorry, wrong movie. All right, let's.
That was really good. No, and then Uncharted was the second movie.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So which movie were we talking about first?
Let's do Death on the Nile because
Okay.
kind of like with your book, and I feel like with like mysteries in general, you can't say too much without
Yes.
spoiling
Can't give
it.
away.
So
Yeah. No spoilers here.
this one will be short and sweet. It's the follow-up to Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes.
They are not the same movie. Just how they're done. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I can say without spoiling it. That doesn't mean that either of them's bad or anything.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed both, but they are not the same. So just know that. It's the same detective, Poirot. I'm not going to say it right.
Hercule Parrot.
Yes.
Definitely
There we go.
don't say it that way. He gets very offended.
He does.
He takes
Yes.
great pride in his name
And his
Yes.
mustache,
and his mustache.
Yes.
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 which we were talking about that.
Yes, we were right before we started recording.
All right,
I have
so
some words.
this guy has an immaculate mustache.
It
Like
is
I'm
very
talking
beautiful.
on some Sam Elliott
Oh, yeah.
mustache on steroids. Like it
Definitely.
is insane.
He grows a nice mustache.
It's amazing. I wish I could. But
I would say the same thing, but I don't. So I don't want to have a mustache.
but there are some discrepancies
Yes.
with this.
yeah.
It's not a major plot point
No.
what happens to him, but
Definitely not.
basically we believe the mustache is fake.
100%.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
gotta be.
It's
It's
just
just not possible.
no, but then you look at it and you're like, he takes that much pride in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
But
gotta
that's
be real.
it's got. But if he takes that much pride in it, maybe it's because it's fake. So he like tries
he's
his
gotta
best,
preserve it.
yeah, to make it look as real as possible.
Okay. So what we're talking about is he's trying to cover something up on his face, and we believe that he would not be able to grow that mustache.
Yeah.
So he's basically got a fake mustache.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be a
So.
fake.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just
Oh,
don't.
either way,
know.
killer mustache.
Yeah, either way, it is very beautiful.
It's a great
Yeah.
mustache.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kenneth Brett. I'm gonna mess up his actual name. His first name's Kenneth. Last name, Brano. I think I said it right. He's phenomenal. And
Yeah,
just,
he's a great actor.
like, and mysteries can get kind of dialogue heavy.
yeah,
You know,
Yes.
just
definitely.
because that's the point. But like his character makes it so interesting, and you're
Yeah.
engaged the whole time. So I found his performance was my favorite out
Yeah.
of everybody's. But I mean, I highly recommend it if you like mysteries or anything. Also Murder on the Orient Express as well.
Yeah,
Watch them both.
I thought
great movie.
I thought that one was better personally.
I
agree.
Yeah, I think the reason. So
and I can't say why.
yeah,
for me.
so I'm gonna just say like a little bit of like plot twists. Like when you think about plot twists, like there's your predictable ones and then your unpredictable ones. And I want to point out that this is something that you and I, Blair, talked about when we went and saw it together.
Yeah.
That this book was written, like these movies are based off of Agatha Christie books, which are very old. So when she wrote them, the plots were all unpredictable at that point. I feel like nobody was expecting what they were thinking or anything like that. So like nowadays these movies could be, like not that exciting because of things you tend to predict or tend to not predict. And I just want to put that disclaimer out there. If you're going to watch these, like they were based off of movies or books that are very old. So
Yeah.
And also there are some plot lines that could be not so great these days.
Yeah.
Or if you choose to read the books, there will definitely be plot lines that are what we would consider politically incorrect today. Again, you have to remember when the books were written. It was
a different time.
Even if it's not like, it's not okay then, but like that was socially acceptable at that time.
Yeah.
So like just keep that in mind.
But the movies are great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still say Murder on the Orient Express is better. Josh Gad, Willem Dafoe, like killer cast.
Yeah.
This one I felt great cast, but for me it was a little less starstruck.
Yes,
right?
I agree. I agree.
So, I mean, great movie. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both movies. It's just Murder on the Orient Express is better.
Yeah.
Dame Judi. Whoa, hello. Dame Judi Dench. There we go.
Yeah.
God bless her.
Yeah.
Phenomenal actress.
Yeah.
So,
You want to know who I want to talk about that was in this movie that like barely said anything, which was so out of character for this actor? Russell Brand.
Yeah.
The heck?
I totally forgot he was
Yes,
in that.
he was in that movie.
Yeah.
He's usually insane.
Yeah.
He was so quiet.
That's why I didn't.
That's why you
notice
didn't
him.
realize he
Yeah.
was there. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that
Yeah.
was Russell Brand.
Yeah, this is Russell Brand. He's in this movie.
And I'm used to like the long hair.
Yeah, he
And
definitely
was
has
like
no long hair.
clean
He's-
cut. And so
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
He looks really good.
There was one scene, I went through 15, 30 minutes of the movie and he just looked at the camera a certain way. I was like, oh,
yeah,
It's
that's
Russell
you.
Brand.
that's Russell Brand. The heck you doing in here?
Like
Oh,
he
man.
completely
Yeah.
confused
Does
me.
not look like himself.
Yeah, not at
Yeah,
all.
he was very calm and collected.
Yes.
Different side of him. Very
different.
weird.
Very serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I didn't like it. I thought he was good.
Great
Oh,
performance.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I just was like, that's very weird.
Yeah. Agreed.
You know?
All right. So, Uncharted. I know you're already.
You already
Yeah.
got the giggles.
Okay.
Oh, I have a lot to say too.
Look. Okay. Wait. Are you familiar with the games,
I
Daco?
am.
Okay.
I am.
Like very.
I haven't played them, but I've seen.
Wait, you're familiar, but you've never played them?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a little.
How does
fishy, I
that
know.
work? Yeah,
So-
I don't know if I believe you on
So,
that.
there's this thing called YouTube.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, keep going. I see where we're
man,
going
I'm
on this
sorry.
one.
So
Aggressive
people-
already.
Yes, yes. It's the movie.
Ah.
The movie made me aggressive.
Oh,
I
okay.
apologize. So gameplay videos.
Yes.
People record
Yes, they do.
themselves playing. So it's great games. Can't say the same about the movie.
Okay. Well, I am not familiar with the games.
Okay.
I did basic Google, just look up the characters to get a visual
Yes.
comparison,
Yes.
and that's all I needed.
Uh-huh.
So, I feel like if you're not familiar with the games and you enjoy movies like more like Pirates of the Caribbean, kind of, or Indiana Jones-ish,
I would say like
kind of.
a more actiony, better CGI National Treasure.
Yes.
Oh, I
Okay,
love National
perfect.
Treasure.
Right? Who
Yes.
doesn't
That's
love
a great
Yes.
movie.
right? Who doesn't love National Treasure?
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
national treasure.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man.
it's a good family friendly action film.
Agreed.
So if you are a fan of the games, you are going to be unhappy. There are a couple of plot points that are different, probably several. I just saw in my research a couple of surface level ones, and the casting of Tom Holland as Nathan Drake was it was distracting for me at points. Like he would say, like in the opening sequence, he says something, and I literally was like, "Oh, I'm in the theater watching Spider-Man."
Yeah.
It's almost the same line verbatim he says in one or multiple of the Spider-Man movies. I was like, oh no,
Feels like Spider-Man.
we're off to a great start. So
Multiverse of Madness has already started.
yes, and like, I mean, they justify this by saying, oh, this movie's like a origin story, so he's in his early 20s, and the character in the game is in his early 30s, and looks really rugged, and whatever. Tom Holland is not a rugged guy. When I think of rugged, Tom Holland's not the first guy I think of. Tom Holland is a great actor.
Yeah.
He, is dedicated to what he does and always does the absolute best he can do. It's just he doesn't meet like anyone that's seen Nathan Drake, the video game characters, like these don't match.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily his fault, but that's just, there were multiple times. Yeah, I was like, no, I was just like, it's Tom Holland,
It's Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's like, I still, and I don't want to like typecast him, but I mean, when you're that successful as Spider-Man, it's kind of hard.
And don't take this the wrong way, but he's a 20-something-year-old that still looks like he can play an accurate 16-year-old.
Yeah, he looks like he should be playing high schoolers for sure.
And so when he's trying to play a dude in his early 20s like he is, I mean, it feels off. And I think that is because we do know him so heavily as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker, and now he's trying to branch out and do other movies.
Yeah.
But we already know him as this.
Exactly.
And he doesn't look different, and he doesn't sound different.
Exactly.
And it's just Peter Parker.
Exactly.
It's hard to differentiate.
Yeah, so. And like even I feel like just looking up the character, I think a 21-year-old version of that is still not, someone that could pass as a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, you're thinking Sebastian Stan now. Come on.
I'm thinking to bring in Sebastian Stan.
That's who you would rather have.
Yeah. Probably. She's looking at her. She's already flustered about it. Yeah, definitely.
Like, okay, look.
She said, look.
I've been watching Pam and Tommy, so I'm good. Man. I've had my Sebastian Stan fill. But yeah, like it's just, it's a stretch, and everyone has kind of said that, especially people that are avid fans of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Wasn't there even kind of a little bit of questioning on casting Mark Wahlberg?
Yes. Now I think he did a decent job.
Yeah.
Does he portray that character as accurately as in the video game? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, Marky Mark, good actor, but honestly, I can't see him in anything other than like a knockoff of The Departed. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's Marky Mark. So, but he does do well. And like Blair said, if you haven't played the video games, if you're not familiar with the series, great movie.
Yeah.
And you won't even recognize that he's not supposed to fit in that role.
Yeah.
But to me, it just felt off. Same thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, me and my roommate both, and she was more like the second they showed the trailer, I had no clue it was anything. And she goes, he's Nathan Drake? Are you kidding me? And I was like, why? And she goes, look. I was like, yeah. So it's on its own. I feel like if you're going to go watch it and you're a fan of the games, do not go in comparing the two.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
Because you will lose your mind.
So there's lots of games. Obviously, there's more than one of the Uncharted series. Are there going to be
They set up a sequel so hard.
Okay,
really
so there's definitely going to be another movie.
Yeah. Now, if they decide to keep both Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, which I'm sure they will, for at least the next sequel, they better make it like the very next month because like we said, like Tom Holland just doesn't look like he can play that rugged 30-year-old.
Maybe they need to wait until he's like 40, and then he looks
And
30.
then he could play a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
It's going to benefit him greatly
Oh,
when he
absolutely.
when he gets older. Just right now, it's not helping in this situation.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
But I mean, for what it was,
I mean, great,
on its own.
great action movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some good twists in turns. I was entertained.
Yeah.
After I got past that,
Yeah.
trying to block out like, all right, Peter Parker and Marky Mark. All right, come on. But no, good movie. Definitely one of the better video game adapted movies.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, I was entertained overall.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say the same.
Oh, Samantha's getting tired. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm bored. Hey, I told you before I don't like action. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I didn't even ask you if you wanted to go with us this
I know.
time. I was just
I
like, she's
didn't.
not.
I will say though that I do love the video games. They're great, and I would recommend actually playing them. They're very fun to play.
Does not like
might have to
action
pick it up.
movies, but we'll play
But
action
we'll play
movies.
action video
We'll
games.
play action
Yeah.
video. Well, because then you're involved and you're doing it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Just like watching them run around and blow things up. That's not fun. I want to blow the things up.
All right, put that down. Make a note
Yeah,
of
write that.
Yeah, go on.
Putting that on the podcast. Maybe I should take that out.
Yeah.
Just maybe. Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm glad to hear all of this. Okay, so would you recommend? I didn't even do this for the first movie. Would we recommend Death on the Nile?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, I would too. Would you guys recommend Uncharted? Just a yes or no. There's no qualifications.
Yeah, right?
There's always strings with this.
I know.
So, like,
Yes, if you haven't played the video games.
yes,
Yes,
if you
with a
can.
little asterisk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, if you can go in and put blinders on.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Agreed.
be like,
Yeah.
this is its own thing. I'm not going to compare it to anything else.
Right.
And treat it like that.
Good
And-
luck with that.
Yes, it's very, very hard. But that's what you're going to have to do if you want to enjoy all the good things about it.
I'm a
Okay.
trained film student, and I
still
I
struggled?
struggled so hard with this one. That was
I
hard.
love that.
Oh man.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got. Anything else?
No.
Go enjoy the movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
the
read the book.
Yeah, read the book.
Yeah, read that book.
Do some reading. It's good
Do
for
some
you.
reading. All right. Well, we will see you guys for this segment in another month.
Adios.